Most people think intelligence is about grades, vocabulary, or how quickly you solve a math problem. But true intelligence, and the kind that runs deep and quietly shapes your life, often hides in subtle behaviors that most people overlook. You might not realize it, but your calm observation, your discomfort with small talk, your ability to connect patterns others can't see, all of these are powerful signs of a mind that works on a higher level. Stoic philosophy reminds us that wisdom is not about showing off knowledge. It's about understanding life as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. The most intelligent people rarely go around announcing it. In fact, they often doubt themselves. That's because genuine intelligence comes with awareness, the ability to see complexity, uncertainty, and nuance. When you can see how much there is that you don't know, you stop pretending to have all the answers. This humility is often mistaken for insecurity, but in reality it's a mark of great mental depth. A fool believes he knows everything. A wise person realizes he's always learning. You might notice that you don't fit into superficial social circles easily. You crave conversations that go beyond gossip or entertainment. You want to talk about purpose, values, and human nature. That's not arrogance. That's intellectual maturity. You sense that time is precious, so you'd rather invest it in something meaningful than waste it in shallow company. Intelligent minds naturally seek depth. They grow restless when surrounded by noise and triviality. Another sign of hidden intelligence is your ability to observe rather than react. While others rush to speak or argue, you listen, not to respond but to understand. This is a Stoic trait and a sign of a disciplined intellect. You recognize that emotion often distorts truth, so you train yourself to stay calm, even when others are impulsive or angry. Intelligence is not just about knowing, it's about controlling your inner world. You've learned that mastery over your emotions is a higher form of intellect than mastery over facts. Intelligent people often struggle with overthinking, but this too can be a gift when managed correctly. Your mind constantly analyzes possibilities, motives, and outcomes. You see connections between ideas that others miss. This analytical nature can make life harder, because you can't simply turn off your brain, but it also gives you an extraordinary ability to understand complex systems, human behavior, and patterns in the world. Stoicism teaches us to direct this mental energy inward. Instead of being consumed by thoughts, you can use them to gain clarity and wisdom. You might also find that solitude doesn't bother you when in fact it nourishes you. While many people fear being alone, intelligent minds use solitude as fuel for growth. You need space to think, to recharge, to make sense of your experiences. That's not antisocial, it's self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, often reminded himself that being alone with one's thoughts is not a punishment but a privilege. It's in these quiet moments that intelligent people build their inner worlds. Rich, reflective, and grounded in reason. A deeper kind of intelligence also reveals itself in empathy. Not the performative kind that seeks praise, but genuine emotional understanding. You can sense what others feel without them saying it. You see the pain behind someone's smile, the fear behind their anger. That's not softness, that's insight. Emotional intelligence is often underrated, yet it's the foundation of great leadership, deep relationships, and peace of mind. It takes real mental strength to stay kind in a world that rewards cruelty. True intelligence isn't loud, boastful, or attention-seeking. It's quiet, introspective, and strategic. You plan more than you talk. You observe more than you judge. You act when it's necessary and stay silent when it's wise. You don't need validation because you already understand your value. And that understanding comes from a deep connection to yourself. So if you've ever felt like you think differently from others, if you often find yourself analyzing life on a deeper level, struggling to connect with surface-level thinking, or feeling misunderstood for being too serious, realize this: it's not a flaw. It's your hidden intelligence manifesting itself in ways most people can't recognize. The Stoics would say that such awareness is rare and powerful because it allows you to rise above illusion and live in alignment with truth. You are not behind. You are not overthinking. You are not strange for preferring solitude or seeking purpose. You're simply awake in a world that prefers to sleepwalk through life. And that awakening and that capacity to question, observe, and understand it is one of the purest signs of true intelligence there is. One of the most overlooked truths about intelligence is that it's not about how much you know. It's about how you use what you know. The Stoics believe that real wisdom isn't measured by information or talent, but by how well you live your life. A person can memorize facts, quote philosophers, and still be a fool if they cannot master their impulses or remain calm under pressure. True intelligence is practical. It transforms knowledge into wisdom and wisdom into action. You can see this in how intelligent people handle chaos. While most people panic when things don't go as planned, a truly intelligent person pauses, breathes, and assesses the situation with clarity. They ask, "What can I control here?" instead of wasting energy on what they cannot. This mindset doesn't just come from intellect. It comes from discipline. It's the ability to think rationally in the heat of emotion. That's why the Stoics said that the wise man remains unshaken, no matter how turbulent the storm. Intelligence isn't about avoiding mistakes either. It's about learning from them deeply. You may have noticed that when something goes wrong, you don't just shrug it off. You replay it, analyze it, extract lessons from it. This reflective nature is one of your greatest strengths. Many people repeat their errors because they rush to move on without understanding why things happened. But your mind insists on learning the logic behind every event. It wants to turn every wound into wisdom. That habit of introspection is not overthinking. It's evolution. Stoic intelligence also reveals itself in how you deal with people. You understand that not everyone sees the world the way you do, and instead of forcing your views, you adapt. You realize that arguing with closed minds is a waste of your peace. You'd rather conserve your energy than win meaningless debates. This restraint is not weakness, it's mastery. It takes immense intelligence to recognize when silence speaks louder than words. Another powerful sign of deep intelligence is your ability to accept uncertainty. While others crave constant control, you've learned that not everything can be predicted or explained. You can live with unanswered questions. You can stand in ambiguity without losing balance. This acceptance doesn't mean you're careless, and it means you understand the flow of life. The Stoics taught that the universe moves according to its own logic, and fighting it only creates suffering. Intelligent minds intuitively grasp this truth and find peace in surrendering to what is. You might also find that your intelligence isolates you at times. You notice patterns others don't, question norms others follow blindly, and often see the bigger picture when everyone else is stuck in details. That can make you feel distant, like you're living on a different wavelength. But solitude is often the natural habitat of intelligent souls. The Stoic philosophers, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, all emphasized time alone for reflection. They understood that solitude sharpens the mind and strengthens the spirit. Your intelligence also manifests in your ability to detach emotionally when needed. You care deeply, but you don't let emotions blind you. You can step back, analyze your own reactions, and adjust them. That's something most people never learn. They are slaves to their moods and impulses. You, on the other hand, have glimpses of freedom because you can watch your thoughts rather than be consumed by them. This mental distance, this ability to observe without being swept away, is a hallmark of higher consciousness. True intelligence often brings a quiet sadness too, not depression, but an awareness of how fragile and foolish the world can be. You see how people waste their time chasing approval, comparing themselves or drowning in trivialities. You can't join them, even if you try. That sense of detachment can feel lonely, but it's actually clarity. It means you've begun to see life without illusion. The Stoics taught that the wise man's loneliness is not emptiness. It's space for truth to enter. At its core, intelligence is harmony between logic and emotion. It's not about being cold or purely rational. It's about knowing when to feel and when to think. Stoic intelligence doesn't deny emotions. It understands them. It observes anger without acting on it, feels grief without losing hope, and finds gratitude even in loss. That balance makes intelligent people both resilient and compassionate. They don't suppress life. They understand it in its full depth. So if you often find yourself analyzing, reflecting, detaching, and seeking peace rather than attention, you're not distant. You're wise. If you prefer silence over noise, understanding over argument, purpose over popularity, that's not apathy. That's intelligence guided by Stoic clarity. You're not missing out on the world. You're simply seeing it as it truly is. True intelligence isn't loud brilliance, and it's quiet alignment. It's the ability to stay grounded while everyone else is chasing chaos. It's not about knowing more, it's about needing less. It's not about being perfect, it's about being conscious. And the more you grow into this kind of intelligence, the more peaceful and powerful your life becomes. There's a kind of intelligence that can't be measured by IQ tests or academic success, an intelligence that comes from feeling deeply, observing quietly, and understanding people without needing them to explain themselves. This is emotional intelligence, and the kind of mind that doesn't just process information, but feels it, connects it, and transforms it into understanding. The Stoics knew this kind of intelligence well. They called it wisdom of the soul, the harmony between reason and emotion. If you're someone who often feels emotions intensely but hides them beneath a calm surface, it doesn't mean you're cold, it means you're aware. You don't explode or overreact because you've learned that emotions, though powerful, are temporary. You've trained yourself to feel them without being consumed by them. This is one of the most advanced forms of intelligence, emotional regulation. Anyone can feel anger or sadness, but very few can observe their emotions, name them, and still choose to act wisely. Emotionally intelligent people often carry an invisible burden. They sense everything. They notice tone, silence, hesitation, and energy shifts in others. They can detect dishonesty without proof and feel discomfort without explanation. This sensitivity can be exhausting, but it's also what makes them incredibly perceptive. They read life like a book most people don't even know exists. And while this level of awareness can be isolating, it's also the root of true compassion. To understand people so deeply that you can forgive them even when they're wrong, that's wisdom. The Stoics believed that compassion doesn't mean weakness. It means strength under control. You can care without losing yourself. You can forgive without being naive. You can love without being dependent. When you reach this level of emotional clarity, you're no longer manipulated by feelings. You use them as tools of understanding. Your emotions become signals, not chains. They guide you instead of ruling you. You might have noticed that you don't seek revenge or arguments, even when wronged. Instead, you step back, analyze the situation, and respond from reason rather than ego. That restraint isn't fear, and it's power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." That's what intelligent people naturally understand. They know that reacting to negativity only strengthens it. By staying composed, they rise above the chaos that consumes others. Emotional depth also gives you the ability to find meaning in pain. While most people run from discomfort, you search for the lesson in it. You understand that suffering, though unpleasant, often contains the seed of transformation. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every failure becomes raw material for growth. You ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That shift from victimhood to awareness is what separates deep intelligence from shallow reaction. You may also find that you can sit with silence comfortably. You don't always need to fill the air with words, because you know silence often says more than speech. This stillness is another mark of emotional and intellectual maturity. The Stoics practiced inner quiet, the ability to hold peace within regardless of external noise. In your stillness, you gain perspective. You start to see how much of life's drama is self-created. You realize that most people's suffering comes from resisting reality, while peace comes from accepting it. Emotionally intelligent people are also masters of perspective. They can step into another person's mind and see from their angle. They might disagree, but they understand. That understanding makes them kind, but not foolish, empathetic, but not easily deceived. They recognize that every person acts according to their level of awareness. This realization removes bitterness and replaces it with wisdom. You stop taking things personally because you see how limited most people's understanding is. This kind of intelligence can make you seem detached or mysterious to others. People may misjudge your calmness as indifference, not realizing it's the result of deep self-control. But within, your thoughts run vast and alive, processing, reflecting, and balancing. You are not emotionless. You are emotionally disciplined. You've learned to feel everything, but show only what's necessary. That's not suppression, that's mastery. The Stoics taught that emotions should serve reason, not destroy it. They didn't tell people to be numb. They taught them to transform feelings into virtue. When you channel your anger into action, your sadness into wisdom, and your love into compassion, you are practicing Stoic intelligence in its purest form. You are using emotion as fuel for character. So if you often find yourself analyzing your emotions, understanding others deeply, or carrying empathy that others don't seem to reciprocate, know this, that's not weakness. It's strength on a higher level. It means your mind and heart are working together, not against each other. You have what philosophers called the balanced soul, intelligence that feels and emotion that thinks. In a world that glorifies noise, instant reaction, and emotional extremes, your calm awareness is rare. You are not detached, you are evolved. You are not distant, you are discerning. You don't suppress emotion, you shape it. And that's what makes you far more intelligent, far more aware, and far more powerful. Intelligence is not just a way of thinking, it's a way of living. It silently shapes how you act, what you value, and how you move through the world. While most people chase stimulation, validation, and approval, the highly intelligent live differently. Their daily habits reveal an invisible order, a quiet discipline that aligns perfectly with Stoic principles. They don't announce their intelligence. They embody it in how they think, speak, and choose. One of the strongest habits of intelligent people is intentional solitude. They don't isolate themselves out of bitterness or pride. They do it because solitude is where clarity lives. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, your thoughts get diluted by other people's opinions. Intelligent minds crave space to think, to process, to create. They retreat not to escape the world, but to understand it better. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Highly intelligent people naturally follow this truth. Their alone time is not emptiness, it's recharge. Another distinct pattern among the deeply intelligent is their curiosity without ego. They ask questions not to prove others wrong, but to explore. They're not afraid to say, "I don't know," because they understand that ignorance acknowledged is the beginning of wisdom. The less intelligent pretend to know everything. The wise seek to know more. This humility creates a learning loop that never ends. Every book, every conversation, every mistake becomes a classroom. To them, knowledge isn't something to show off. It's something to live by. Intelligent people also have a unique relationship with time. They don't rush through life. They move deliberately. They understand that haste is often a symptom of confusion. When others are busy being busy, they pause to ask, "Is this meaningful?" They prioritize quality over quantity, depth over speed. That's why they often seem slower to commit or act. They're not lazy. They're precise. They've learned that doing one thing right is better than doing 10 things without awareness. The Stoics called this euthymia, the peace that comes from following your true path without distraction. Another habit of intelligent individuals is their ability to delay gratification. They know that instant pleasure often destroys long-term peace, so while others chase comfort, they choose discipline. They read when they could scroll, rest when they could argue, work on goals when they could waste time. They understand that every choice compounds. They're not motivated by trends or moods. They're guided by principles. This self-control isn't cold or robotic. It's rooted in wisdom. They've realized that the ability to say no is what gives power to every yes. Highly intelligent people also have a profound respect for silence. They don't rush to fill it with chatter. You'll also notice that they simplify their lives. They avoid unnecessary drama, toxic people, and meaningless pursuits. Their spaces are often calm, their routines minimal. They understand that mental clarity grows best in simplicity. They're not obsessed with being liked or noticed. They care about being grounded and aligned. This detachment often confuses others, who mistake it for arrogance, but it's really freedom. As Seneca said, "He who needs less lives more." Intelligent people live by that. Another pattern is their habit of reflection. Before reacting, they think. Before judging, they understand. Before deciding, they question. They replay their day, analyze their choices, and ask what they could improve. They live consciously, not mechanically. This habit turns every experience, even painful ones, into wisdom. Where most people repeat mistakes, intelligent individuals refine themselves. Reflection is how they evolve continuously, without needing to be told. Deep intelligence also reveals itself in emotional neutrality. Intelligent people rarely let emotions dictate their direction. They may feel anger or sadness, but they don't let it cloud judgment. They understand that emotion is temporary, while decisions are lasting. They can stay composed even when criticized or misunderstood. Their calmness in conflict is not detachment. It's mastery. It's the quiet power of someone who knows that reacting is easy, but responding with grace takes strength. Lastly, intelligent people value purpose over popularity. They would rather be alone with integrity than surrounded by approval. Their choices are guided by internal standards, not external applause. They don't chase validation because they already know who they are. They've built their worth on self-awareness, not social acceptance. That's what gives them an aura of confidence, not arrogance, but authenticity. These habits, solitude, reflection, restraint, simplicity, purpose, are not random traits. They are the natural expressions of an intelligent, stoic mind. Such a person doesn't live loudly, but their presence commands quiet respect. They walk through life with focus, awareness, and emotional strength, not because they were born exceptional, but because they've trained themselves to see clearly. True intelligence is not about thinking faster. It's about thinking deeper. It's not about knowing everything. It's about understanding what truly matters. And if you live by these quiet habits, if you seek depth over noise and meaning over approval, you are already living proof of that truth. Real intelligence is not a gift you flaunt. It's a light you learn to protect. It's not something that shouts, but something that guides. You don't need the world to recognize your intellect for it to have value. The Stoics taught that the highest form of wisdom isn't about proving how smart you are. It's about using your mind to live a calm, meaningful, and principled life. The goal is not to appear intelligent, but to become wise. If you've spent your life feeling different, like you think too deeply, feel too much, or can't connect easily with the shallow rhythm of the world, then your task isn't to change yourself. It's to honor that difference. Intelligence, when misunderstood, can feel like a burden. You see too clearly, sense too deeply, and question too often. But what if those very traits are your hidden power? The Stoics would say, your nature is your strength. The key is not to suppress your depth, but to guide it. To strengthen your intelligence, begin with self-awareness. Learn how your mind works, what triggers you, what inspires you, what drains you. The Stoics practiced daily reflection, morning intention, and evening review. They would ask, what did I do well today? What did I do poorly? What can I improve tomorrow? This habit refines the mind like sharpening a sword. The more aware you are of your own thoughts, the less control they have over you. Intelligent people often drown in overthinking. But through awareness, you can transform that overthinking into clarity. Next, cultivate emotional discipline. You don't need to suppress feelings, and you need to train them. When anger rises, pause. When anxiety speaks, listen but don't obey. When sadness lingers, observe it like a passing storm. The Stoics compared emotions to wild horses, powerful but manageable through reason. You have to hold the reins. True intelligence is not about being unfeeling, and it's about being emotionally strategic. Every emotion carries a message. Your job is to interpret it without losing control, then focus on learning continuously. The intelligent never stop growing. They don't need external validation to study philosophy, science, art, or psychology. They do it because knowledge expands perspective. Read not just to know, but to see differently. The Stoics believed education was not about memorizing words, but about shaping character. So choose wisdom that improves how you think, how you act, and how you live. Every book, every failure, every conversation becomes your teacher when you approach it with humility. Another vital practice is embracing discomfort. Intelligent people often stay stuck because they seek clarity before action. But some truths only reveal themselves through experience. The Stoics taught that growth happens through challenge, not comfort. Step into what scares you, not recklessly, but with courage. Every time you face discomfort consciously, you strengthen your resilience and deepen your wisdom. Life's tests are not punishments. They're opportunities to apply your intelligence to reality. Equally important is detachment from outcomes. Intelligent people often create anxiety by overanalyzing what might happen. But wisdom means acting with full intention, then letting go of what you can't control. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do your duty, then let it go. The rest is not yours." And when you detach from results, you stop being ruled by fear and start acting from inner stability. You free your mind from the illusions of control and focus only on what's within your power and your actions, your thoughts, your attitude. To embrace your intelligence fully, learn the art of humility. The wiser you become, the more you realize how much remains unknown. Arrogance closes the mind. Humility keeps it open. Intelligent people who stay humble become timeless learners. They don't seek to dominate conversations, they seek to understand. They don't mock ignorance, they lift others up. Stoic humility is strength disguised as gentleness. It says, I have nothing to prove, only something to learn. You must also protect your energy. Deep minds are easily drained by shallow interactions. Guard your attention as you would guard your peace. Spend time with people who challenge you to think, not those who distract you from yourself. Surround yourself with truth, silence, and growth. The world is loud, but wisdom thrives in quiet places. You don't have to isolate. Just choose consciously where your mind goes. Every distraction you refuse is a moment of clarity you gain. Finally, practice gratitude. It may sound simple, but gratitude grounds intelligence in joy. Without gratitude, intelligence turns cold and cynical. With it, your awareness becomes light, not burden. The Stoics began and ended their days with thankfulness for breath, for challenge, for the chance to live by reason. Gratitude reminds you that your mind is not just a tool for analysis, but a gift for appreciation. When you live this way, reflective, disciplined, curious, detached, humble, grateful, your intelligence becomes something sacred. It's no longer about being clever or right. It's about being wise and free. You stop seeking recognition because the reward is already within you. Peace, clarity, and strength. So embrace your hidden intelligence fully. Let your curiosity remain endless, your emotions disciplined, your solitude sacred, and your words measured. Think deeply, feel deeply, live simply. That's the Stoic path. Not loud, not showy, but quietly powerful.